Welcome to Trending Upward, and this is Chad Hayes. I want to thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Trending Upward, and I trust that the podcast today will be a help to you. It is my desire that the Word of God be used in such a way on this platform that it would be a help to you as you seek to trend upward. It is important that this life that we live be an ascending Christian life and not a descending Christian life. I trust it to be a help to you as you listen today. As we continue to look at growing in grace, we are on part 5 of our 10-part series on growing in grace, and we're going to be dealing with trials as a tool for growth. In James chapter 1 and verse 2, we read, "My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience." So trials and afflictions are not obstacles to grace. They are often the very tools that God uses to grow us in grace. And James encourages believers to count it joy when they face various trials, because such testing produces spiritual endurance. Now, if we're to be honest today, we would say that we perceive trials to be in the way. That's because we are in a hurry. We view our race, our spiritual journey, in a different lens than the Lord does. You see, when we look at our spiritual journey as a race and we concern ourselves more with running fast versus running well, we have the wrong idea of it all. God don't care how fast we run. He cares about how well we run. We are impatient people. We are in a hurry. We are trying to run fast. So a trip to the hospital or some form of illness is always a setback in our minds. If we find ourselves laid up in the hospital or we have some form of illness, we have some type of injury, our first resort is a setback. However, we need trials in order to run well. If the goal of the Christian life was to run quickly, then the Lord wouldn't give us anything that would hinder our speed. But God cares about running well, and He cares about endurance. When I was in the Marines, they wanted us to run quick, they wanted us to run well, and they wanted us to run with endurance. Now, in order for us to be able to run in these 3 different ways, the training for each was different. There were times that we would run in tennis shoes. There were also times that we would run in our digital camis in boots on the beach. This was for endurance. So we trained in different ways so that we would be able to run quick, we'd be able to run well, and we would be able to run with endurance. And you see, the Lord doesn't just care about how fast we run. He cares about how well we run, and He cares about endurance. It's been said that the Christian life is not a sprint, it is a marathon over the course of life. You know, grace does not remove all pain from life. Instead, it equips us to bear it. Paul suffered greatly in his ministry, yet he testified that God's grace was always sufficient in 2 Corinthians 12 and verse 9. So trials reveal the depth of our faith and the strength of God's sustaining grace. Romans 5 and verse 3 through 5 teaches that tribulation works patience, and then patience experience, and then experience hope. And that hope doesn't make us ashamed, because the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts. So trials, when received with faith, deepens our dependence upon God. So the furnace of affliction, as it's been said, purifies our faith and produces the fruits of the Spirit. So suffering, it develops empathy. Suffering also develops compassion. It helps us and equips us to be able to minister to others in grace. So I invite you today, rather than praying only for deliverance, pray for growth. And trust that God has a purpose in every trial, and then trust that His grace is going to carry you through. I'd like to thank you for listening today to Trending Upward. If it's been a help to you, I invite you to share this podcast with someone and help get the word out on how they too can trend upward in their walk with God.